From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief creator of Amazing Ideas at Stunning Digital Marketing. In today's podcast, we have Copywriting with Todd Jones. And Todd and I are going to talk about building your core message. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, Stunning Digital Marketing is your digital concierge. We help you put the pieces together to make your marketing success. Specialties we have including WordPress design and development, WordPress security, which is one of our most popular offerings, ads, and more. So if you want to succeed in the digital world, go on over to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and have a look at what we offer, and we'd be glad to help you. And let's jump on a call and make it happening. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com. Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here, and today I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Todd Jones, with this copywriting segment. How are you, Todd?
Not too bad today. I'll take it.
No, me too. So today, last episode we talked about building a value prop and all this about what's your value proposition and what's the point. And today we're going to talk about building a foundation for your core message. So why does a foundation matter?
So, SDM Show and Rob Cairns, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Let me tell you a story. It's in the Bible, and it's a story Jesus told, and I'm going to do it with the Todd version. So, it's not exactly, but there's two men that wanted to build a house, right? Everybody knows this story. They both wanted a beachside resort. So they wanted to build on the beach. And the first one didn't have any time to waste. Let's get to it. Started building a house right there on the beach. Excited. The other guy took his time and said, let's think about this a second. I don't think I want to build it on the sand. So he found rock and built his house on a rock. Both of them are on the beach. Not much longer after they built those really cool houses right there on the beach, a big storm came. And the storm had lots of wind. It went whooshing and shooshing and had rain and thunder and lightning. And the man who built the house on the sand, the house went flat. And when we were kids and we would tell that story, we'd say flat with we had fun saying flat. So he asks the question, Jesus does, which man was wise? And of course, the people there said, the man who built on the foundation, the rock, he was the wise man. So the reality is when you have a business, whether you're selling web security or jewelry or remodeling for, special type of customer, or you're an e-commerce store, whatever, you have a message because you have to have a message, right? And a lot of people sometimes rush to build that foundation on sand, which is shifty, no unique value proposition, no North Star. And so what we want to talk about is building your message, the message that you have, the story that you tell on a firm foundation. And so a few years ago in the AWAI, I think it stands for American Writers and Artists Association International. They would do these copywriting courses, and one of them was about the guy called it a key message copy platform. That's what he called it. Some people call it a brand strategy or brand message. Actually, when you talk about branding, we talk a lot about branding in business, right? You need to get your branding down. Well, typically, I would say that the estimation, the Todd Jones estimation, is when they say that about 75% of the time they're talking about visual branding,
Of
right? Your logo, the color scheme, what fonts you
course.
use, all that. The problem is that there's two sides of the same coin when it comes to branding. One side is that visual representation, what people see, what they helps them remember. The other side is the message. And so what I'm talking about today is the message side of the branding coin. um, I have called it a message copy. What's the word? A compass, messaging compass. I've called it that before. I've called it different things, but today I'm going to call it core message platform because these are the elements that I believe you need to have as a business owner, the most important elements, and everything else. I think I'm not saying that you shouldn't have the other things that some people will say you should have, but these are what I would say. When you talk about a small medium business, sometimes they don't really have the team to do content. Usually, maybe the one person does the content or whatever.
Yep.
So, but these are very important things, and there's 11 of them. I don't want to sit here and go in depth on each one of them, but we will talk about some of them. And so the first one, what I recommend you do as a business is to gather this information into a document. So you can use a Google document, you can use
Or Word,
Notion, you can use
whatever you want to
uh,
use.
Microsoft Office or whatever you care to use. It doesn't matter to me. The
Yep.
places that you have it documented and some hierarchical structure, and it's something that you share with your team, assuming more than one person does the various marketing content that you have. So the
Mhm.
first one is your value proposition. We talked about that the last episode. I don't want to go into it too much, but the idea is, what is the point? A clear articulation of what the brand offers and why it matters. That's kind of what I said.
Yep.
The second one, and by the way, some of these will actually be a part of the value proposition, but you still need to gather that information, document it. The second one is target audience. So we talked about that some in the last episode as well, about who it is you're targeting. We're thinking about more about what we call psychography rather than demographic, right? Like, okay, like your mom is selling homes to people who are in the latter part of their stage of their life, and they're really it's really the final spot. Maybe they're moving there to be near kids, or their retirement age, or whatever, or they're house flippers. These are not your new market buyers.
Yep.
These are people who are down the road. So that would be, you got to address what that target audience is. A lot of people will jump into, hey, this is what our demographics look like. And then they'll come up with these fictitious names, right? Marketing Mary, whatever. Okay. I think personally, those are a waste. The ideal is to create what it is that they're needing, what they're hoping to achieve. You figure that out by interviewing them. I don't want to go deep into
Mhm.
that, but that is definitely something you need to document.
Yep.
The next one is something that I think is important, but doesn't have to be something you start off with. But it's the brand voice and tone. Um, that is an important thing, especially as you mature as a brand and you start doing more content.
Mhm.
And a lot of times a company will start and they'll have one without thinking about it because
And
it'll
it,
reflect their personality.
and isn't consistency really important? I see it time and time again where brands are not consistent in their messaging and their voice and their tone, and I think that's a big mistake as well.
Yeah, as I was working with Rhonda for her newsletter, I was trying to get a sense of, what her brand and tone is as a
Yep.
person. But I will make a recommendation, and I think you had her on your show before, and I'll put it up in the book. Writing for Humans and Robots by Maddie Osmond.
Yep.
Very good book. It's a resource book. Have it on your desk. But she will talk about brand and tone in
No
this book,
question.
as well as the grammar and editing and all that kind of stuff. So definitely get you a copy of that book. But that is something that you should think about. And I don't, you can get really carried away with this, right? Usually it's like it's as simple as I'm irreverent. My brand tone is irreverent. Okay, that's fine. Or I'm casual. I'm professional
Yep.
yet casual.
Yep.
That's kind of how I define myself. Some people have referred to me as warm somehow. Okay.
Mhm.
If you get my emails, you'll know that I like to do a lot of cultural references. Like, okay, I'll talk about a song, or I'll talk about something from a movie or whatever,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's just part of my brand and tone. So anyway, that's something you need to think about. Number
Mhm.
four, key benefits and features.
Oh, yes.
This is
Big one.
yeah, and this one might take some time to do, and again, it's not something that we can just do so quickly on here, but if you're a product company, you're going to center these around your product. So, what's your product? I have a book, and this is what the book is, and these are the features of the book. This is what you'll learn. This is
Yep.
the so what is the benefit. If you're a service, your features and benefits are going to center around the services you offer. And you probably want to do one for each service or each product you offer. And then, of course, in the website copy framework, we talk about that to some degree. But there are actually a lot of articles online that do that. But anyway, you need to have your key benefits and features, and it needs to be documented. The next one is, I think, a future podcast episode that we're going to do is supporting proof points or social proof.
Yep.
These are the things you. What I find interesting when I do website copy project, Rob, one of the things I'll ask for is I'll start asking for these things, and they don't have them. They don't have
Of
them
course I don't.
collected anywhere or anything. And the testimonies or reviews are fairly easy. Okay, they're on G2, they're on Facebook, they're on Google. That's fine. I can go find those, and they're all in one place. But little things that are important for social proof. One of the things that I'll ask for is like, have you ever been interviewed for a podcast, an article? Yeah.
I have a media page on my website, as you
Yes. Where
know.
did you learn that from?
Oh, I did
Where'd
that
you get
long
that
ago.
idea from?
Yeah, yeah.
I talk about that, have a media page. So you should have, you don't even have to have a media page, but you need to collect those things.
Yeah.
And maybe you can put them in a PDF and send them to somebody who wants it, or highlight two or three
I
of them on your about
so
page.
what I'll share with you, and you may know this or not know this, I even created a media kit website that's got so if somebody wants some information about what I do or wants to interview me, there's that there, there's images there, there's a link to my media page there. It's all there. And all I do now is send them that URL and say, go here and get what you need. And I'm good.
Yeah, and that makes it easy for you and easy for them. And I can tell you, as someone who did do some tech journalism at one point, having that at my fingertips without having to bother somebody and email somebody is like you're ahead. And you go to start interviewing somebody, and you've already had a chance to look at all that stuff because they had it documented on one spot
Yep.
on their website.
Yep.
But in order to do that, you've got to collect it. So you got to know where it all resides. You got to be able to find it quickly. And,
So the tip I have to throw out there is do it as you go. So
yeah,
when you do an interview, one of the things I do is I grab the URL right away, and if I don't update my media page right away, I'll put it in a notepad file or somewhere so I remember when I go to updating that page, I can just do it. With videos, I usually just embed, if at all possible, the video right into the media page. Those who know me know I'm a frequent, I haven't been on lately, of This Week in WordPress. I often join that show very quite often. I've done several interviews, including our friends up at WP Founders and other places. So, you know,
yeah.
there,
I need to update my website for a lot of things, and one of the things I need to do is the regularity of me being on this show.
yep.
But anyway, yeah, absolutely. You should have that documented and in your documentation, even if you've got it somewhere else and you have a link to, okay, you can find it all here, but
Mhm.
you've got to collect those proof points. And that includes data. Like if you have certain proof point data that you
Yep.
can do, something to substantiate your claims.
Mhm.
Case studies, if you've done case studies, and I have a whole thing about case studies. I don't like how they're normally done, but case studies would be go here, or if you're gonna do a case study on somebody, a reminder that that's somebody you can do a case study for. That's
No,
number five.
I agree with it. Number six.
Number six, call to action.
Yes.
This is something we forget about until the very last minute. So what kind of call to actions you want to do? You can do them all at one shot, or you can do them as you go. But I think if you at least sit down and think about it, like what are the calls to actions I want somebody to take? Basically, it's like, okay, I want somebody to join my email list. Okay, that's great. That's a call to action. I want somebody to contact me about web security. Okay, that's a call to action. And you're going to think about how you word it whenever you do it on the website, but you got to think about these are your channels to bring people into your world. And so, do I want somebody to listen to my podcast? There's a call to action for that.
Yep.
So, do I want somebody to join the School of Content, which is coming out this month? There's got to be a call to action for that. So start thinking about your call to actions, and because these are the entry points into your world where you bring them in, and then from there you nurture that relationship, and eventually if they buy from you or hire you, then that's how they get there.
Yep.
So
Number
that's the
7.
first one. That's number 6. Number 7, what is your vision? Vision of the future. Actually, 7 and 8 kind of go together. Vision and mission statements. And they're slightly different. Vision is typically looking in the future, like this is what we want to do. If you have a very succinct mission, the vision might be the steps to get to the mission, or the vision might be bigger than the mission. But nevertheless, number 7 and 8 is your vision and mission statements.
Yeah.
So long-term objectives, that would be your vision, and a statement that defines your organization's purpose and goals would be your mission statement. Think about mission in terms of purpose. What is your purpose? So as a company, as a person, if you're a solopreneur, what is your purpose? Like, that kind of thing. So number 9 is your promise. Something that I have added to my stack recently is the promise, because that is something that kind of aligns with your values. Like, I promise to do this. And a lot of times when people do brand manifestos, it's kind of a culmination of their promise, right? The values are kind of a culmination of their promise. You may have to do all that stuff. And number 10, by the way, is values. So 7, 8, 9, and 10 kind of all together. Vision statement, mission statement, the promise you have for your customers, because vision and mission is sometimes internal and values is internal, but that promise is external. What are you promising to your customer? So those are kind of a singular block, but I've got them divvied up in 7, 8, 9, and 10. So those are things that you document. If you do, I know that some people do the EOS organization system. We got a guy in town that does that, and I've connected with a couple of people on LinkedIn. But whenever you start doing organizational processes and stuff like that, those are things they ask for. So you're not doing something, you're not putting this out there and like it's not, aspirational. It's practical. It's how you conduct your business. And so when you go talk to a coach, a business coach, or an EOS consultant or whatever, they're going to want to know those things. So if you already have it for them, then that helps them help you. So if you're trying to mature your business, those are 4 things you need to have. By the way, I've got a friend in Texas who helps companies mature and get themselves where they can exit eventually. If you plan on ever exiting your business, you need to have all of these things, but those 4 things in particular are really increase the value of your business as you get ready to sell it. So now the final thing is something we have talked about before: the origin story, or the founder story. Now you could go further, and I think there's this is a future podcast for us. The different stories that a company should tell, and we've done one similar to that before, but this is a future podcast. But I start with the origin founder story because that is the origin of your business. This is how we started. So those kind of things are very important, and usually sometimes you do that first, right, and everything else kind of flows from that. But I've read some pretty interesting founder stories along the way. And it's something I do advocate you putting on your about page or your brand page, whatever that is. Some solopreneurs, their homepage will read like an about page with leading with that story. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, actually. So it's definitely a format you can use on a homepage, especially if you're a solopreneur, kind of driven by that origin story. And usually when you look at those origin stories, you can see where the purpose, the mission, the vision, and the promise and the values all come from. They usually come right out of that origin story. So probably you don't want to wait. You don't want to make that number 11, but that's 11th on the list. So there you have it.
It probably should be the first or the second one, truthfully.
Yeah, it should be in the
no
top
fun.
3 or 4 of the things on the list. I may rearrange that, but I was actually when we were going to do this the other day, I was working on this, and so I was going ahead and put them all. I may go back and like reorganize them, and they may be. I like to do like less points because it's easier to remember. Nobody remembers 11 points.
Yep.
But they can remember 3, they can remember 5, they can remember 7. So eventually I'll probably work it into 3 or 5 or 7 to make it easier. Just like the 6 Ps, right? In fact, if you look at the 6 Ps for an about page, which I think I have done a podcast on, if I haven't, we'll do that down the road. Most of those stem from this here. But my point is this. All these things should be documented in a document for the company. Of course, if you're solo, at least for yourself, but if you have a team, they all need to have access to it. And whenever somebody comes, you start using a third party to do content for you. Here is your foundation. You can build that platform on top of this as your foundation, and you need it.
So I would go back and listen to those 11 things. They're kind of like gold. And thanks, Todd, for joining and for sharing. And have a wonderful day, my friend. Be well.
All right. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much for listening to the SDM Show. The SDM Show is brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, your digital concierge. For all your digital marketing needs, especially WordPress security, jump on over to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and let's help you put the pieces together and make your business succeed in the marketing realm. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com. Very special thank you to Todd Jones for joining me on this edition of the SDM Show. This podcast is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I love you. I miss you very much. And thanks for all the inspiration over the years and your caring, your understanding, and helping me grow as an individual. Thank you, Dad.